This is Neil Schneider from MTBS at GDC 2018. I'm actually at the SVVR Mixer at GDC. To my immediate right is Florian Honig. He is CEO of Unbound Technologies. What does Unbound Technologies do?
Unbound Technologies has dedicated themselves to create a new kind of representation for 3D models. We recognize that real-time computer graphics is kind of stuck in a local optimum, and it's mostly driven by the video game industry. So we put a lot of years of R&D in creating this volumetric format that is very convenient, for humans to play with tracked hand controllers in VR, which is a product we have right now in early access on Steam. But as a company in general, we're trying to further real-time 3D for people and industries outside of the video game industry. I believe that if we look at VR and AR, it shows a trend of people outside of the video game industry being very interested in creating things in real-time 3D. And so we're creating technology in general for that to allow people to make apps like they did for the iPhone and different ideas without being limited to the game industry processes.
Can you elaborate a little bit more as to how your work is advantageous over what's already out there?
Like I said, we basically started by developing a unique format. Our models are described by functions, and it's all GPU powered, so that's really what made it possible to evaluate these massive amounts of edits that you can put down with a hand controller. But if you create a really large, intricate model, it's also really compact on disk. So about 500 kilobytes. It's a little logo of a company on a website. But the format in itself is very suitable also for a machine to understand it. It makes a very nice feature vector for if you wanted a machine to understand what makes a seed, and then maybe combine that with another seed and say hey, maybe I want I would like to synthesize a seat that looks a little bit like my Audi A3 seat or whatever you like, in Chippendale style and red.
So let me ask the question a different way. Maybe you could compare what we have now and then what you're doing. Why is what you're doing better than what's already available?
Well, I mean, in general, GPUs that are the thing that drive today's modern real-time 3D graphics. They are very good at rasterizing triangles, right? That's a particular technology and a particular kind of doing rendering, right? We realize that that's okay, but for creating, whether you're human or a machine or generate these things, it's not very that suitable. So we created something that's more robust, right? If you use Unbound and you just wave around your hand, the model that comes out is always a valid model. Most of them you can automatically also just print in 3D, right? With triangle meshes, it's not that ideal. They're very flimsy. If you move a little bit around, then they break, right? So this robustness is the key notion of what we're looking for, for most of our design and for this format.
Okay. Now, is it a file format? Is it an engine? How would you describe it?
It's a little bit of everything there. There is a certain file format, but we basically have a single primitive, just like in triangle rendering, but it's a volumetric one, and it can reconfigure itself to be a box with sharp edges, a sphere, a torus, and then blend together, right? So when you create a model in Unbound, not only do you have the full history of every step in the creation of that, and you can always rewind and play it back. You also you have a lot of information about what makes that thing, right? And if an absolute layman goes in and moves these things around, it will still be a valid model, right? This is that notion of robustness that we're talking about.
All right, good stuff. So if people wanted to try this out for themselves, how would they go about doing that?
So just search for Unbound on Steam. It's in early access. It's available since January.
Good stuff. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
This is Neil Schneider from MTBS at GDC 2018. We will, of course, be back with more. Thank you for watching.